Okay, so let's dive into Georgia. The international news is just full of it right now, isn't it? We're seeing these huge protests in Tbilisi after the local elections. The ruling party, Georgian Dream, claims this massive win. But then you have tens of thousands of opposition supporters out there clashing with police, even reports of attempts on the presidential palace. It looks, well, really unstable.
It absolutely is. And, to really grasp what's happening, you can't just watch the street scenes. You've got to look behind them at the power structure. And right at the heart of it all is Bidzina Ivanishvili, billionaire oligarch, often called the shadow dictator. So today we're going to dig into not just his control, but also the really weirdly contrasting lives of his two sons. One seems to have just disappeared into this super expensive Tokyo apartment, and the other, an albino rapper who allegedly uses top government officials to do his bidding.
Wow, okay, that sounds like a geopolitical thriller, almost. Power, money, family drama. Let's try and unpack this. The Ivanishvili family, their influence, how they operate, inside Georgia and out.
Right, and you have to start with the father, Bidzina Ivanishvili. He's the source of it all. Think classic post-Soviet oligarch. Made a fortune, incredibly quickly in Russian banking. This was back in the 90s, right after the USSR.
Like our prime minister too, right?
Yes.
But only for a short time.
Yeah, exactly. He founded the Georgian Dream Party back in 2012, held the top job. But here's the crucial bit. He stepped down super fast, but he never, ever let go of the reins. His money, and we're talking maybe a third of Georgia's entire GDP, lets him basically run the show from behind the curtain. He tells the party what to do.
And it's that shift towards Russia lately that's really set things off, isn't it? It seems to be the core of the current explosion.
Oh, absolutely. The pro-Russian alignment is crystal clear. He keeps his ties strong with oligarchs close to Putin. His family has business in Russia. But the big move that got everyone's attention internationally, that was the foreign agents law they pushed through in May 2023. People immediately called it the Russian law because, while it looked exactly like the kind of thing Moscow uses to crush democracy and independent voices.
And the international community noticed that pretty quickly.
They did. The European Parliament actually called for personal sanctions against Ivanishvili himself. But the real turning point, for our story anyway, was December 2023. The U.S. hit him with economic sanctions. They specifically mentioned his actions favorable to Russia, asset freezes, the works. And suddenly all those Ivanishvili billions needed somewhere safe to hide.
Which leads us straight to son number one, who did Ivanishvili. And this very strange, very large cash deal in Tokyo. The reports paint this almost bizarre picture of him, right?
Totally bizarre. Uda's 32. Japanese media tracked him down living in central Tokyo. Says he's a video game designer. Walks places, takes the train, wears Japanese brands like Onitsuka Tiger, goes to the gym. He's really working this image, just a normal, good-looking young guy.
But that whole image just shatters when you look at the property records, doesn't it?
Completely falls apart. Yeah, investigative journalists dug up the deeds. Turns out Uda bought this huge apartment, 115 square meters, top floor, corner unit, really high-end building right in the city center.
Okay, so what does a normal young man's place like that cost?
Well, at the time, the market value was somewhere around 500 to 550 million yen. That's roughly, $5 million US, and here's the absolute kicker. He paid cash. No mortgage, just straight cash.
500 million yen cash. Wow. Okay, but why is the timing of that purchase so important for the people looking into this whole sanctions evasion thing?
The timing is everything. He bought it in June 2023. Now think about that. It's right after the European Parliament started talking about sanctions against his dad. And it's just 6 months before the U.S. actually dropped the hammer with the asset freezes. So this suspicion, and it's a strong one, is that this massive cash purchase was basically getting ahead of the game, moving dad's money that was about to become toxic, into his kids' names, and specifically into a place like Japan, which might not jump immediately when the U.S. says freeze something.
So Uchan living in Tokyo isn't just him liking the city. It's potentially a strategic move, a piece in a global financial game.
That's exactly what's being alleged, and it looks like they even set up the legal plumbing back home to help. The Georgian parliament, which, remember, his dad controls, passed this thing called the offshore law. It basically gives massive tax breaks if you bring overseas assets back into Georgia. Most people see that as just creating a safe little box inside Georgia for assets they're trying to shield from the outside world.
Hold on, let me get this straight. So the father sets up the legal protection inside Georgia, while the son is making these huge cash buys outside Georgia, like in Japan, to potentially dodge international freezes. Is that the alleged setup?
That's precisely the mechanism journalists are pointing to, and there's more coordination. right before the U.S. sanctions hit, Uda sets up this company in Tbilisi called ATU. He's the 100% owner, but when a journalist actually asked him about ATU, Uda, who'd been friendly, suddenly got hostile, denied setting it up at all. Very defensive.
And then there's the diplomatic angle, too. This weird meeting with Georgia's ambassador to Japan, Tamuraz Lazava.
Yeah, that was January 2024. They met at a restaurant in Shinjuku. Someone reported seeing the ambassador hand Uda this large black bag and apparently told him in Georgian, "Don't open it here. Hope this helps."
So Tokyo's become this sort of quiet back room where the family and diplomats can potentially move assets or do deals without an immediate scrutiny. Why isn't Japan making more noise about this?
Well, international security experts are definitely raising alarms. They're worried Vanishvili's money might be getting remotely managed from Japan through UTA, which leads to this very real fear that Japan could become a kind of black hole for dodging sanctions, a place where dirty money can hide. Japan's foreign ministry. So far, they've just said they're deeply concerned, which, isn't exactly decisive action.
Okay, so that's the older brother who is potentially running long-distance financial defense. Now let's pivot to the other brother, Bera Ivanishvili, the albino rapper. What's his role in all this back home?
Right, Bera. He was born in Paris. He's 30 now. Singer, rapper, composer, producer. He actually has albinism, and so does his younger brother, Satone. Bera's built a music career partly in Georgia, partly in the U.S. He's actually, classically trained, plays piano, drums, violin, but he's known for the rap stuff.
Is his music separate from the family politics, though? Or is it connected?
Oh, it's deeply connected. He started a record label called Georgian Dream Studio. That name obviously resonated because his father then named his political party Georgian Dream. Bera even put out a single called Georgian Dream, explicitly to boost his dad's political launch.
So he's kind of the family's cultural arm, using music and fame for influence.
That's part of it, yeah. Soft power, you could call it. But there was a much darker scandal involving him that really showed his role in the family power dynamics. Came out in 2021.
Tell us about that. Sounds like it involved abusing state power.
Exactly. These secret phone recordings got leaked, and they seem to show Bera using actual high-ranking government officials, including the prime minister at the time, Irakli Garibashvili, who's a very close ally of his father's, using them to track down and threaten people who'd criticized his music online, on social media, and apparently this included minors, teenagers.
Hang on. Using the prime minister, someone reporting to the shadow dictator father to go after people, including kids, because they dissed his rap songs. That's an incredible abuse of power, the scale of it.
It points to a total breakdown, doesn't it, where the state apparatus is just a tool for the ruling family. Now, the party line was the recordings were faked, doctored. But NGOs, critics, they saw it as proof of, quote, an extremely severe form of dismantling state institutions. So Bera's role, it really confirms how total the family's control aims to be. It's not just finance, managed by UTA overseas. It goes right into culture and using the government itself for personal payback, basically. So what you're really looking at is this sort of family machine built for total dominance. You've got the father with his massive wealth dictating policy from the shadows. You've got the older son, Uta, running the global defense, allegedly setting up these complex hidden schemes in places like Tokyo to keep the billions safe from sanctions. And then the younger son, Bera, he's running the offense back home, making sure the culture stays aligned and using the state's power to crush any personal criticism.
It's a really stark contrast, isn't it? This incredibly wealthy, powerful family operating on this global scale, while ordinary Georgians who want a different future are literally fighting riot police in the streets of Tbilisi. Their stability seems built on the instability they create for others.
It really is the blueprint for how modern, globally connected oligarchies operate, unfortunately.
Before we wrap this up, just think about that contrast one more time. Uta Ivanishvili, beneficiary of this huge, secretive global operation. But at the same time, he's putting on this performance, right? The normal young man act. Video game designer looking for friends on dating apps, all while living alone in a $5 million apartment he bought with cash. Why do you think these families, the families of dictators, oligarchs, why do they bother with this performance of normalcy when their lives are so obviously, profoundly not normal? What's the point of pretending? Is it strategic, psychological, something else? Makes you wonder, doesn't it?